Hi everybody, this is Pam with Jesus Junk Journals, and it is Art Journal Fun Friday. And so I had worked on one. I wanted to show it to you. I loved how this one ended up. So pretty. And so I just left it like it was. I didn't want to do anything else to it except add some lettering. So I decided to use white lettering. I used the fine line applicator with the fine tip with white high flow acrylic ink in it, and it works really well. And so I did this. In Christ we have righteousness, redemption, and reconciliation with that. So that is done, and I don't know what I'm going to do with this because it's really it's fallen apart from all the paint and water that I subjected it to, and these are coming apart. So I don't know how long that's going to last. I don't know. I may have to take these pages out and figure out something else to do. But on we go. I'm going to keep painting. And I thought I would try again to be subtle and do some pastel. I feel like that kind of in that mood today. So I think I'm going to put down some of this cheap white paint. This poor brush, that's, wow, that is really terrible. Oh well, anyway, it's just something to smush this cheap paint around, so. So this is really just to blend with the colors. I'm gonna do some pink. Just use some cheap acrylic paint here. I've got this copper and some pink. And I may end up, if I get a bunch of paint on here, I may end up doing some of that printing like I did before, if it gets too thick and weird. And actually, I think I will, because when I do this, it doesn't really look very interesting. I mean, I could always use different tools to get you know, more texture, but I like what it looks like when I printed it off on paper. So now this is golden titanium white that I'm adding to this, just basically to add more paint to it so I can take some paper and put on it. And I wonder if I think I'll take a template, a stencil, and try printing through a stencil maybe. Kind of like I do with Jelly Plate. And I did just get this new stencil from the craftersworkshop.com. They have some really great templates. I'll lay this on here, and then lay this on here, and see if I can get, I don't know if it'll show up as a floral print or if it'll just be blobs, but we'll see. Blobs. All right, not quite as wonderful as, that's pretty interesting though. Now I'm gonna lay the flowers on top of this. I'm gonna have to do that off camera here. I don't have room to do everything. I'll show it to you here. Okay, so I just laid the stencil over it and pressed it down on the paper. Got kind of a nice outline on there. I have to get some water going in my pan so I can wash these stencils as I go. So I'm gonna lay this on here, and it's wet. Take this very unremarkable piece of paper and lay over it. See if I can get anything. And again, it's just some blobs. But it looks really interesting on that page, I think. Very subtle. I think I said I wanted subtle though, didn't I? So, okay, I'm going to let that dry and leave that alone. And by the way, if you can hear my dog snoring in the background, I apologize. Okay, and so here's another journal that I glued this piece of a magazine to last week. And I think I'm going to do a similar thing with this. I'm going to just put a bunch of paint. Some scrap paper that I just put some odds and ends, like tiny little scraps, it looks like. So I'm just going to add a little bit of paint to it. There's some more that I've just done some random scrapping on, it looks like. Okay, that's what I was hoping for, where it takes the paint almost completely off. And then I'm going to use some sprays. I've got some, I think, fairly subtle glimmer mist. Yeah. In like a pink and a coral. Okay, so I think I'm going to let this dry and think about it some more, see if I want to add to it or not. And then this is the third one that I always, I have 3 that I work on, as I told you before. Here's what I did last week. I put those on. And so I think today I will put some paint down on here. Not paint, but ink, sorry. I kind of want to play with some of these browns I've got. I've got a burnt sienna and a raw umber. So I'm going to try using my water spray. Ooh, looks like I should have filled that up. I really like that color, like a greenish brown. And then I'm going to use some burnt sienna. That is Amsterdam ink, and it seems much more saturated. So I'm learning as I go here what the different ones do. I don't have my cloth down either, do I? Okay, so I think I'm going to let that one dry, and then I'll come back to it. Hi, everybody. Well, it's been a few days. I got sick, and Thanksgiving came, and we postponed our dinner because we both got sick. So I'm just now getting back to this, so I'm just going to go on and do some work, and I'll probably fast forward it, and then you won't have to hear my voice that sounds kind of froggy, and we will get this stuff done. I'm going to go ahead on this one and add some white space. I feel like it needs some white spaces in here, so I'm going to use my, this is a really solid white gesso, so I'm going to use that. I'm back to this one, and I need a focal point. Every spread needs a focal point. I have this one left over from the one that I did last year, or well, actually this year, 2022, and this was one of my printouts, and I think it goes really well with this background, so I'm going to use it, and I'm going to use the regular gel mat, I think, to just put that on. Okay, so I'm just going to let that dry and move on to the third one, which is this one. And I'm going to paint some flowers, and really kind of going out on a limb on this one. I'm going to try to do some loose flowers in some of the brighter colors, I think. I'm really debating. I'm kind of looking at this for inspiration, so I'm going to mix up some colors, I think, that are hopefully some of these. I need to kind of muddy it up just a little bit, so I'm going to use some of this kind of mustard golden ochre, see if I can get that to be a little dirtier pink without going too crazy. So we'll see what happens here. And I haven't done this technique for a while, so I don't know how it'll work. So I'm really, we'll see what happens. And I'm going to show you a couple things I just bought. We have an outlet down here from Dayspring, and they have Bible journaling things in there, and they have an illustrating Bible, Psalms and Proverbs, and they have one for the Gospels. And it's intended for people who do Bible journaling, which I used to do that. And so I got it because it was really inexpensive. And I'm going to tear this apart and use the words. I don't feel bad about tearing this up like I would a normal Bible, because that's kind of what this is for. And so I'm going to use Proverbs 31. the wife of noble character. And I'm going to use, let's see, I think I could actually get the whole thing, even though it's on 2 separate pages on here. I'll save that. I'll just tear it into chunks so that it will look more even, since I have this one in this chunk. Okay, so I'm going to apply those. Okay. All right, I think I'm done with this one. So I'm going to let that dry, and I think that's it finally for this video. So I will close it out, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.